Welcome back to the EU LCS studio and the battle for the bye. Our next matchup, Vitality versus G2. A win here for Vitality does mean they secure second place and the bye. The battle could be over. We would still play the third match, of course, to see how the seeding unfolds. But we look back at this game, an interesting one for sure, a much longer game than I think a lot of people expected when you look at how these teams like to win the game. But if we take a step back, let's look at what we wanted Schalke to do in terms of the keys to victory, in terms of those key factors. And Vizicachi, you will know better than anyone else, is Nara comfort champ for Vizicachi. Did we hit that?
I understand.
Yes. Sheepy, no.
Yeah, Sheepy, no. Yeah, actually, Nara's one of his comfort champions, and he was not performing so badly in the early game. However, there were a lot of things popping up that were not expectable. I think this was the most classic Schalke versus Vitality game we could have. They had picked the Thresh. They play 1-3-1 with Jiizuké and Jarvan pushing on the side lane with, with the pressure that he had. Schalke playing very, very passive. Like we said in the beginning, standard bot lane, self-sustainable top side, mid lane playing a little bit back, plays a Vel'Koz into Ryze, which is actually a fine matchup. Nothing exciting, so they couldn't really snowball any leads over mid side, but that goes in the favor because Vitality wants to snowball over mid side. We see Kikis in the enemy jungle, both really playing to their win conditions what they want to do, but then it just takes forever. And that's, I think, where the criticism should go in, because we saw the Ryze being so strong. We saw Vitality having, the driver's seat, but they didn't really act on it.
And the thing that I think is crucial here is we talked about Schalke's win conditions before we left, but we had actually Vitality win conditions too. We didn't get the time. But Vedius, I want to give you some credit here. The thing you said to me off broadcast, literally over and over again, was give Jiizuké a comfort pick.
I just feel like in the meta, it's kind of gone slowly unnoticed that this guy's champions have all come back. Last couple weeks he was playing Taliyah mid lane. He's had a bunch of Ryze games. Galio has been another big one for him. And they all have this running theme, which is, they're good at pushing mid and then leaving mid. And he does really well in a side lane. And if he's able to play towards the side, have that opportunity to have those 1v1s, 1v2s, especially in the mid to late game, this is where the Italian stallion shines. And given the meta is shifting back towards it, you can't afford to give this man Ryze. It was his best pick last split. He picked it up again. And not only were Vitality able to successfully have a pretty decent early game, not a strong one, but they were able to match every move that Schalke made blow for blow, meaning that the gold stayed very even. Jiizuké was getting stronger and stronger, and the moment he moved off to a side lane, that's where things became extremely difficult for Schalke.
But let's take a look at why you say decent and not good when it comes to the early game. That was a few of the early plays that kind of went south for Vitality, specifically in the bot lane. We talk about Ryze being a really strong point for their draft, but Jactroll on this Thresh, alongside Attila, they were struggling a little bit in the early game, not dealing well with the pressure Schalke was putting down.
Yeah, I think overall here, when we saw the draft, they picked Thresh into Braum, and I don't think this is the best matchup. Thresh wants to play aggressive and sets up for a 1-3-1. It's kind of like a Pyke idea, the Thresh.
Yes.
And yeah, really didn't work out here. Got way too much caught in the 2v2 lane and really didn't do that well.
Yeah, I think the goal was to have him work with the Trundle to try and set up invades, try and work together, maybe even play through mid to try and get Jiizuké ahead. But because they were suffering so much in the laning phase, we never actually saw an opportunity for Jactroll to roam around the map. Like the early gank from Amazing that we saw down bot, the fact they died 2 versus 2, really limited his ability to impact. But we did see a couple of good picks, and he worked quite well in terms of getting people out of sticky situations as the game progressed. And then it moved away really from Jactroll and then more onto Jiizuké as the game moved forward.
And of course, this led to a very slow game from Vitality, one of their slowest, I think, when we look at it. Very long, not a ton of kills. When they didn't get that early lead, they had to kind of slow everything down. But you mentioned Jiizuké earlier, and I want to go back to him because this man split pushing was the story of the game. Now, most highlight reels that you saw from him last season were him 2v1 outplaying. He does get a couple kills here, but this game, what made him so good was a little more of the PvE action, hitting those towers constantly.
I think what was great was how he was just... The thing is, in this matchup, he was able to kill Vizicachi pretty much any point. Sheepy, you kept saying it in the break where he's like, you can literally just kill him. And this was the only point at which he did it. And I feel like Jiizuké, I don't want to say that he underestimated his own damage,
but he did.
But he just I mean, he played much more defensively than he did last bit. It felt like he was a little more reserved because he definitely could have been way more aggressive in that 1 versus 1.
Yeah, I really want to give advice here to both teams because I think that they played really their identity in those games, and that is great. They had their identity, they pushed it through, but they were really not playing on the edge. That Jiizuké is like firing early the Seraph's Embrace. He goes Rubber Dance instead of Spellbinder to get the movement speed to kill the Gnar. Doesn't play aggressive enough. Gets 2v1 killed even though he's stronger. He can just literally one-shot both of them. Now when Ginzo's Rage Blade, which made, you know, Deficio rage as well. And it was just really big question mark. And then they started slowing it down. They started doing dragons at like 24 minutes or something like this from Vitality, just giving all the sideline pressure, allowing Schalke to actually group up around the 24-minute mark, but Schalke just picked Ezreal. And what I really hate about the way, and we did the same, what I really, really do hate, is people picking not to lose. You pick the Ezreal, you pick the Braum, you get through it, but you don't have a mid-game plan. So they just pushed the side lanes. They had perfect vision set up at 24 minutes from Schalke, but they just don't start Nashor. So they just concede the moment that Ryze goes on side lane and really, you know, fights back. So I really want to see that more because Vitality has a game now and Schalke really has now some time to prepare as well.
And adaptation is going to be the story here. We want to see how both these teams can step up in that mid-game, see what they can do, see if Vitality and Schalke want to change how they draft or approach things. Of course, on the other side in this second match, Vitality on one, we've got G2 on the other. This is going to be their first game of the day. And for them, this is the salty run back. That's what we like to call it. They lost yesterday. They got absolutely destroyed, and we have to hope that the salty part I just said is a little bit of a joke because they need to keep their mental game strong. Jankos yesterday was the big weakness for this team. Do you think he can turn it around?
I hope so, you know, because based off his early gameplay, he picked Trundle, but I wasn't expecting him to cosplay it. These early couple of kills going in favor of Vitality just snowballed out of control. And the moment that this happened, like, this guy was constantly 2 levels behind Kikis. It's escalated to 3 levels, 4 levels, and he was pretty vocal on Twitter saying that he knows the burden was on himself. He recognizes that he made one too many mistakes that really cost his team.
Sheepy, I want one final thought from you. If Jankos is struggling, who do you look at on this G2 lineup to step up? Players are ready, so we got to keep it quick.
Has to be PerkZ. It really has to be PerkZ because I think in this play as well, PerkZ was not on the same page. He was just walking back towards mid lane and Jankos goes in. So if those two have had a like heartfelt talk, and like skip all the bullshit and, you know, went actually to talk, because I think that both of them are joking around. You know, we see it in you know, all the voice comms, but I think if they sit down and they say, you know, we need to snowball over mid lane, I'm really, really, like, PerkZ is one of the strongest mid laner we have in Europe.
Yes.
So if we actually play around that we don't fall so far behind the jungle, then this guy can take over the game.
And put him on a playmaker. I don't want any more Orianna. This man is so talented that it has to be on something that can actually have an impact and a lead that he can generate for himself.
And we're going to see how G2 wants to run their draft, if they're going to take it as seriously as you want it, Sheepy, and you better hope so, because it is the battle for the bye. It's continuing as G2 look to stop Vitality from taking second place. Quickshot, you're on the screen now. Just go.
Thank you very much, Draco. Sheepy's short points are almost as short as Deficio's. Listen, stakes are simple. Vitality win, and they're in a semi-final. They take that second seed, and then G2 and Schalke will be fighting for 3rd and 4th, respectively, in our next game.
Yes, which is also important.
Hell yes.
Let's see what happens in the draft here. Yesterday, G2 Esports stepped away from the classic Ashe Tahm Kench that they like to run. They picked Ezreal instead, and while Hjärnan actually did a fine job, it felt like they were missing something after Jankos fell behind, and I obviously don't want to blame the bot lane. I just want to see if they actually want to go back to the more aggressive, you know, we can actually force engages with the Ashe. I have Tahm Kench ulti to create a bit more playmaking, because once Jankos fell behind, the team did nothing.
Yeah, couldn't find a comeback mechanic yesterday. And to maybe prevent or reduce the risk of falling behind, Trundle and Olaf taken off the table, targeted towards Kikis, and the Ryze being removed because Jiizuké just had a phenomenal performance. We saw the stats in that pre-game setup. Average Ryze damage to champions in a game around 3,000. Jiizuké did 4 times, thank you, damage to turrets. Jiizuké did 4 times that amount. Not looking for the kills, and it's going to be a Gragas first pick.
All right, so Kindred is still available for Kikis, which was actually the champion he used yesterday against G2, but that was against a Trundle. Now it could be a Gragas, and Gragas is one of the picks you actually like to have against Kindred, because of course his ulti synergizes so well against the Kindred ult. Does that make any sense? Synergizes so well against the ult? Anyway,
it makes sense.
It's good against the ult.
It makes sense. Once you put that Lambda Spike down, Gragas barrel kicks you out of it. And of course, it's going to be a Braum early lock-in here. Another comfort pick for Jactroll. Played that several times this split already. And you look at Yamato.
So Varus is also a pick I want to look at again.
To deny that from Hjärnan.
Yeah, and Attila just took it last game. But obviously, Ashe Tahm Kench is still available for G2 if they want to go back to that one. They can also go Varus Tahm Kench if they want to in this draft here.
Now, this is a big pivot for Vitality. They played the Varus Thresh in the previous game. Now Ezreal Braum. What's some of the reasons? What do you expect the rest of the draft to do? Now we see Xayah, Rakan, locked in for Hjärnan, Wadid really throwing down the gauntlet.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily Xayah Rakan is like the answer against like Braum Ezreal. It's really hard to actually do a lot against them, but it is then suddenly a combination where once we get out of laning phase, Wadid's Rakan is really, really strong, and it's a way for G2 to be able to force a lot of plays. The draft yesterday was very passive, so the moment they did fall behind, they were kind of stuck, not able to do almost anything. But today, they have a lot of ways of starting fights. Jiizuké is back on the Galio. Said in last game how with Kikis joining the team, it feels like Jiizuké is a new player, because it's less about him getting fed on his own in the early game and more about him working with Kikis to shut down the enemy side lanes or the enemy jungler, and you can do that with the Galio pick. They don't have any setup for him at the moment because it's a Braum and an Ezreal on the other side. So I am expecting something like the Jarvan again, where you have a way to get into the back line. Jungle-wise as well. The Kindred, as we said before, is open, but not, again, the greatest synergy if you need someone who can get into the back line with the Galio.
And of course, one of the other champions that synergizes with Galio so well, the Nocturne. Taking that off the table, throwing down that paranoia as well as the hero's entrance is just such a powerful backline dive tool and removed it.
Ooh,
you heard
mid lane.
Vedius talking a little bit about the Galio, the comfort picks for Jiizuké, slowly creeping back into the meta. He's got his hands on it. Lucian surprises me as a ban, and the final one's Kindred.
Well, we know PerkZ loves to bring out the Lucian mid lane and would be actually a good choice against Galio specifically. But what will Kikis play? Almost everything he's played so far has been banned away. Currently by G2 or picked, of course, with the Gragas. Poppy top lane comes in from Vitality now. Let's see if G2 wants to show anything special.
What would you expect?
I think just very standard. Instead of like, I don't think you necessarily go for anything like cheesy or anything.
Okay.
Also because you don't fully know exactly where everything is going on the side of Vitality. Like I've seen Poppy jungle and solo queue being used. So there is still ways you can swap this around. And Kikis is one of those old school players who's played a bit of everything in the past.
Yeah, and of course, Wunder has a
there we go. Might actually be the Poppy jungle
once before, and will be playing it again for the second time. Team Vitality got themselves one hell of a front line. If that Ornn gets locked in, instead it's going to be a last-second pivot, Deficio, and it's going to be the Jarvan secured. So Cabo most likely going to run that J4 on the top lane, or it could go in the jungle to Kikis. How do you think that's going to mix up? We've got till 20 seconds.
I would not be surprised if they put the Poppy jungle and leave Cabochard with the Cho'Gath top lane.
What do you prefer?
Sorry, with the Jarvan top lane. I mean, at this point, you know what? I actually would love to see Poppy jungle here. I think it can work against Gragas with your ability to deny the body slam, and I think the ganks towards, especially Cho'Gath, is actually really effective if you get him smacked into the top side wall. So, again, I wouldn't be surprised, but Jarvan jungle is a thing. There we go. They actually swap it around.
Exactly what you were saying, Deficio. So, talk to me about this team composition, how it's going to play out. I mean, it just really feels like Jiizuké wants to get some sort of push on that lane and jump either bottom or top, and got some tools to do so.
It smells like camp top lane. Like, you have Ezreal, Braum, bot lane. That's the most, we don't want to touch that lane kind of scenario. And you have Poppy for tower dives, you have Jarvan for tower dives, you have Galio for tower dives. Like, I feel like Wunder is going to get attacked.
All right, so let's see whether or not Wunder gets into trouble. It's going to be a difficult setup for him if Kikis can have that same level of early game impact.
And you know what? I really feel like I saw Poppy jungle in competitive play as well, but I can't remember where.
Well, you're going to have to find some research for me. I believe we're about to get ready. Medic has another backstage interview.
Thank you very much, Trevor. I'm joined by YamatoCannon. Now, Yamato, Poppy jungle is not something we've seen in a very long time in the EU LCS. What made you pick it up here in a vital match?
I actually fucked up. I picked Poppy. I wanted to play top, like Vichisachi inspired me, and then we had to just put a jungle. It was a mistake.
And how do you think that's going to affect your players going into this game?
It's fine. It's just I throw an extra challenge in there to make sure that we're prepared for playoffs.
Well, hopefully they can deal with the challenge. Good luck in the game, and back to you, Quickshot.
I cannot say thank you enough, Yamato. A rare moment.
Interesting.
In professional League of Legends play.
I found the Poppy jungle game. It was in LCS.
Did it win?
And I actually played it, and I believe he won with it, yes, against... it was against EchoFox. So 100 Thieves managed to win with it. I actually remember the game now. People were talking about, oh my god, this guy pulls out Poppy jungle and looked really good on it. So that's where we've seen it in competitive already. Kikis will now have to do it. We don't even know if he's gotten to practice it.
And once again, of course, Yamato actually mentioning how it was a mistake in the draft. He was hoping to get it top lane, needed to pivot in the last minute. And let's see what sort of impact this has on Vitality. Now, of course, Kikis is a player that has been known historically for playing a lot of different champions, a lot of unique champions. I don't think it'll be outside his realm of control or expertise. But
No,
Deficio,
but it's something to follow.
what does it do in terms of how he likes to play? Kikis is a counter-jungling jungler. He likes to get into the enemy jungle. How will Poppy into Gragas do in that sort of situation?
It definitely feels less like a counter jungle pick and a lot more like a ganking in the early game towards the side lane, not mid lane, because ganking mid with Poppy is probably not going to be too easy for him. So you really want to be able to utilize walls, unless you can use some of those side walls around the mid lane itself. But going towards mid lane is not what they normally do now with Kikis. So I'm looking for him to go top lane. I want to see if he actually still wants to invade. Like, he is, in the early game, strong if he can actually land a full combo of E into a wall into Q. Like, the damage, you have to respect it. It's just not exactly a Trundle or something walking in there, smacking you in the head. But the plan stays the same, despite what YamatoCannon said. Top lane is where you can really shut down G2, and you have the tools with the Jarvan and the Poppy and the Galio.
I'm very interested to see what that Poppy does in the later stages of the game. That steadfast presence, going to do so well into some of the dashes and tools that are on the G2 kit.
Yeah, because it's going to be really hard for Jankos to touch him, really. Like, if by the time forward it gets interrupted, and then you don't really get in range of Kikis here. What a curveball!
Yep, what a curveball indeed. And of course, for Vitality, they do have a little bit of breathing room, right? If Vitality lose this game, then they will take either third seed if G2 beat Schalke and they take second seed, or they'll be in those tiebreaker matches a little bit later. There is potentially 2 more games to be played if this round robin ends in 1-1 apiece. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will catch out Jiizuké. He's going to get the taunt down for a second longer. The flash away, but you cannot escape the auto. PerkZ gets first blood.
Oh, the Analyst has said we just want to see Jankos play around PerkZ in that mid lane, put PerkZ on a hard carry and get him ahead, and that's exactly what they did here. First gank so successful. Let's see if Kikis can change this here. He's only level 2, and as we said before, it can be very hard to get someone into the wall in mid unless Jankos walks in.
All right, Jankos does walk in, but the heroic charge doesn't find a stun. Kikis didn't get the angle, and that means Jiizuké cannot follow up with a Justice Punch, so G2 with an early advantage.
What a difference compared to the game yesterday between these two teams. Jankos walked mid lane and died. PerkZ then died right after. It was 2-0 Vitality, but this time around, it's Jankos securing the first blood for his mid laner. Jiizuké used his summoner, and now it is PerkZ with the advantage. I feel like Kikis is going bot lane here with all the pings as well. Yeah, he's on his way down. Now the vision is back.
All right, Hjärnan gets stunned up. Wadid decides to jump back in. Gets that grand entrance, forcing the flash from Jactroll. Heroic charge into the wall.
There we go.
With the hammer shotgun and auto. Attila gets 1 kill back by Vitality. Now Jiizuké, he's found out Jankos. Winds of War, as well as the Justice Punch, sends Jankos below 100 HP. It's so tempting, it's so juicy, but Vitality don't take the bite. We'll go for the dive.
See, I like Poppy in the side lanes, where it's pretty easy to get them into that massive wall at the end of the map. Vitality quickly answered, just like the last game against Schalke. Whenever something backfired for them, they had a response, and it always resulted in a kill. This is the move around mid. Jiizuké does not have vision. It is, of course, the G2 ward down here. And just by the bubble landing, of course, no cleanse, because he's running TP on the side of Galio. He ends up going down. So PerkZ actually set up almost everything right there.
Managed to connect with everything, and that's why PerkZ got first blood. Managed to get the play, managed to get the auto that chased it down.
Because what Jiizuké could have done, like, he could have gone for Spellbook in this one, and at least he would have access to a cleanse if he needed it for something like this. But he went for Electrocute on his side, obviously, with the incoming AP build. The upfront burst is high. Just got to see if we can actually ever get onto PerkZ.
Yeah, I'm taking a look down. It's only Jactroll that's running Unsealed Spellbook. In the previous game, we had a couple more. And, of course, Vitality, the fact they got that kill back, and they're holding mostly even in the CS numbers. It is still an even gold game at 5 minutes. If you look at the minimap, you can see Cabochard pushing very, very heavily towards Wunder, as Wunder's now going to try and stall this lane a little bit. Leashing the minions, pulling them back. The bottom lane's pushing in favor of Vitality as well. So as far as the outer lanes are concerned, they're at least keeping G2 on the defensive and pushing them further back.
So we mentioned on the bottom side as well, it's hard for the Rakan lane to fully punish Ezreal and Braum. Oh, Jactroll, not the greatest move right there.
No, he was just giving a small present to G2, you know. sending a signal. I don't even need the shield, Hjärnan, because you're not gonna hit me.
Look at me walk away.
Exactly.
Look at me.
With the swag move. Jactroll already 1-0 on the day. And remember yesterday, they smashed G2. So
They did.
That's why Drakos called this the salty run back.
Yeah, important to highlight, Vitality's bot lane did not smash G2. They actually didn't really do a whole lot in that game. It was all about the jungle matchup initially. Kikis on the puppy. He's looking for that play top lane we highlighted in Champ Select, and I think Jankos needs to back away. Wunder, he's in trouble now.
Wunder's going to get jumped on by the heroic
Oh, no, he knocked him out of
starts to get channeled down. Cataclysm by Jankos is decent. Sorry, the barrel, rather. And there's the chase up.
PerkZ
That's
is
the
here.
first kill. Wunder's already down. Here comes PerkZ, though, looking for a reply. Kikis and Cabo are so low. PerkZ is looking to jump over them, trying to dash forward, getting more spots
He's
as
in the wall.
possible. The heroic charge dealt a lot of damage. Cabo, flag, drag, dunk. And it's so far a 3-for-1 in favor of Vitality.
Wunder stayed forward knowing that PerkZ would show up and thinking they could turn this around because they saw the play happen. They knew Kikis was coming in and a Galio could instantly join. But because PerkZ didn't manage to actually get the first initial kill, he had to deal with 3 players.
100% kill participation again for Kikis. That time round, the heroic charge hit the correct target. And Exhaust is thrown down onto Hjärnan, but Hjärnan did turn it around. The moment that wears off, and with all the feathers on the ground, Attila and Jactroll got to respect it.
And once again, it's Kikis in the side lane, actually being able to utilize the Poppy jungle ganks. They are a lot stronger than I think a lot of people expected. Like, the base damage is high once you get the full combo off, and Wunder is at first baiting because PerkZ is coming. They've seen Galio move as well, but the initial play into getting Jankos down is still fairly even because of how low the Vitality players are, but the first one does not kill Kikis, and then PerkZ has to just walk through the minion wave in towards the wall, and yeah, he does get the kill, but he's taking too much damage, and suddenly Cabochard and Jiizuké, despite no mana on the Galio, can actually get the kills.
If Cabo or Kikis had missed their CC abilities, the stun into the wall or the knock-up, that would have gone so different. But because they didn't panic or, falter the skill shots, Vitality are 4 kills to 2. Everybody but Jactroll has got themselves a kill on the board. And Vitality have got a 700 gold lead. If they take down G2 Esports, they win the battle for the bye. They take 2nd seed. And they guarantee themselves a showing in Madrid. And the reason we keep saying that, obviously, if they win the semi-final, they play in the finals. If they lose the semi-final, they play in the 3rd place game. Either way, they play in Madrid. And Vitality, confidence, momentum, happiness, this is a team that thrives off of it. Deficio, I'm seeing some pretty happy faces in the Vitality camp.
Oh yeah, this is the kind of start you want after you're already up 1-0 on the day. Jiizuké is threatening.
Oh, he is indeed. He's doing more than threatening, Deficio. He's almost solo killed.
Right.
Kikis was waiting. Kikis was waiting for the charge. That was just beautiful.
Oh, what a nice little play around the mid lane. It feels like they can do anything right now, and this Poppy is looking really good.
I'm going to bring up an old hashtag that we used to have, Deficio. LCS big plays. That was fantastic from Kikis.
They're not done.
Now Jankos is under threat. He's going to flash over the wall. Kikis is flash available to him. I was expecting him to chase, but he decides against it in the last moment. And Vitality, at 10 minutes on the clock, are absolutely taking over the game. A similar thing happened yesterday.
No summoners from PerkZ. They were all used before, and he's already leveled down. He just takes so much damage. I feel like someone's going to die.
But definitely, that's why we've jumped out the replay. Wunder's the target, but here comes Kikis. Can pin Wunder against another wall. It does so! The Cataclysm from Cabo combos beautifully, and Kikis kills Wunder.
We're just learning. In the G2 versus Vitality matchup, G2 cannot match the early game of Vitality, and especially early game of Kikis specifically. He's so active around these 2 solo laners. They draft Ezreal, Braum to say, we don't need you. Stay bot lane, do nothing.
Deficio, look at this gold graph from yesterday's game. It's looking eerily similar. 10 minutes on the clock now. Vitality 1,800 gold up. It eventually scaled to 14,000 gold lead. Start your clocks. Will Vitality hit 14k? That's my question to you, Deficio.
Let's see. I just wanted to see more Poppy. That's it. Kikis showing up big time.
Yep.
Obviously, also the jump for Cabochard. Very successful last game. Same one in this one.
I'm actually a bit disappointed we didn't get to see the Kikis swag heroic charge. Just stood under the tower waiting for PerkZ's portal jump. You know, just saying, I dare you to move this way, bro. And of course he did so, and that's what allowed Kikis again to pick up a kill. I just find it so important to keep reiterating the 100% kill participation. It was true yesterday, it's true today. This is the man that has unlocked this new, updated Vitality.
He's going to try and complete the 90 engage of G2 in this one with the Rakan, with the Gragas. Try and make it so painful for him to play the game. He's looking bot lane right now. That's TP from Cabochard as well.
Oh, this is so scary for Hjärnan and Wadid. Steadfast presence interrupts Wadid. Now Wadid runs
TP
away with his life. Forced to flash. Cabo's looking to chase him down. Cataclysm is on cooldown. And now Attila gets his second kill of the game. It's the 7th for the team Vitality. And they will get some uncontested time on the tower.
And outside of that first spot in the mid lane, it's always Vitality first, forcing the play. They're the ones TPing into the bottom lane looking for this. It's just a counter TP coming in from Wunder, gets cancelled almost instantly because they've lost the fight. They're trying now. PerkZ on his way. Jankos here.
Oh, very nice escape for Kikis, but now uses the heroic charge now. No, manages to sidestep the knockup. It's 2 quick kills for G2. That was all set up by Jankos. He killed the minion wave, and the barrel secures the 3rd. G2, they're not done, they're not out, and they're only behind 300 gold.
Yeah, very big turnaround right there. G2 might lose the mid lane turret, but they just picked up a bunch of kills bot lane. A lot of them went over to PerkZ on the Zoe. And they get a bot lane turret as well. So suddenly a big play from G2 Esports. They were looking like they're almost done in this game. But no. They will actually get something back.
All right, so how will G2 find more opportunities? This was, of course, the start of the play and a very good proactive TP here. And what did? They bought a lot of time. But of course, it's the back half of the fight that really mattered. Vitality committed for that tower first blood. Jankos killing that minion wave really did a lot of work.
But they stay after the rest of the team walks to mid lane, and that's when G2 find an opening to get back in here. TP coming in from Hjärnan as well, but it doesn't even matter because PerkZ has already killed everyone. And they will, of course, get Jactroll down towards the end. Suddenly, it's a very even game. And despite Vitality actually getting some initially very good fights, we suddenly get to the point now where G2 have even out the gold.
Okay, so what happens for the next few minutes? There's a tower down bottom
More
lane.
action definitely will happen.
Versus the tower down mid lane. So PerkZ in a little bit more discomfort. But for Vitality, they really want Jiizuké moving, so that fact that mid lane's down is a good sign for the Vitality squad.
Yeah, I think we might still see the top lane tower dive against Wunder. Luckily, he still has the flash on his side. Cabochard is now invading with Kikis, and we have to remember Kikis is doing very well in the game here and actually has a lot of damage. Also is running Electrocute in this game here, so not a defensive choice on his side. He just wants to maximize
is Wunder
damage.
in trouble?
Yes, he is in trouble.
All right, how many percentage chance will Wunder die?
I would say 90%.
All right, 90% chance he will die. Teleport coming down from Vitality. Heroic Charge knocks him backwards. Kikis, no access to the ultimate. Here comes Jactroll. Jiizuké's done nothing, and with 10% odds, Wunder escapes. You know, he didn't even use his flash.
Yeah, Cabochard never actually forced him to flash either. Like, you could have just blown an ulti to get him to flash away, but I guess 10% was enough to get out of that one.
Let's see whether or not any more odds are in G2's favor. Jankos and PerkZ slow down Vitality enough for Wadid and Hjärnan to get a lot of damage on that mid tower, and now we're in a little bit of a standoff.
It's actually huge that Wunder just managed to walk out of that one. Could have been a flash blow and potentially dying in a top lane turret, but instead it's G2 now sieging mid.
All right, look at this tower. There's the engage from the quickness and the grand entrance. Jiizuké looks for the shield of Durant. There's the flag, drag, dunk, but there's no one dragging yet. Now the hero's entrance coming down from Jiizuké. That shuts down Wadid. Vitality aren't done yet. They're not able to find a tag, so they cannot continue the chase.
Quick little ARAM around the mid lane, and G2 went for the tower dive with that engage from Wadid. Just didn't have the damage actually to take down anyone, and the quick turnaround on the turret, giving Vitality a kill. And while that happened, Attila got the bot lane turret, then TP'd in mid right after that. So Vitality actually ended up getting quite a big advantage from that little play.
Yeah, they reclaim that gold lead that they lost 5 minutes ago. Back up to 1800-ish gold. They hold on to their tower, which I think is very important. And looking at the mini-map, Jankos doesn't stick around on the Herald, but it is still available for taking, at least for the next couple minutes.
All right, let's see the play around mid lane. It's after Wunder survived in the top lane, he's walking to join his team, and Wadid just sees a double engage, and he goes in. Sadly for him, they don't have enough follow-up damage instantly to actually kill someone, and Vitality get a kill in return.
All right, that's the 8th that Vitality were able to pick up. The tower really helping out. You can see the damage numbers from their last team fight. 9804 is not a lot to speak of. Coming out of that team fight, though, a couple of item breakpoints have landed. Triforce secured for Attila. Hjärnan's been sitting on his Stormrazor and Zeal for a little while. 2 minutes, Jiizuké's had that Rod of Ages versus the Ludens for PerkZ. So we're starting to scale into that 1-2 itemization point. That's going to allow these teams to secure some more of those picks. It's Vitality that look to secure an uncontested Rift Herald.
Yeah, and having the Zoe as the Fed member is obviously great for G2 as long as they actually get time to try and poke with perks. All in fights, Vitality are looking to get to him every single time. Let's see what happens around the Herald.
All right, Keeper's Verdict was thrown out, didn't find a target. The last few seconds of the secure, G2 made it in. They didn't fully commit to the interrupt, didn't fully commit to a fight.
Because they're getting mid lane turret.
Got the tower instead, so trading it debt deferred. If Vitality can use that Herald well, they'll at least be able to bounce back. But it's 2-2 in towers.
It's been another one of those games for G2 we've seen a lot lately where we're looking at Hjärnan as one of the big late game carries and not Wunder, who's again on a tank. And his job was actually just to survive in this game. And while he's died twice, the last time he did survive was a pretty big deal for them. They now eventually got down that mid lane turret they were working on before.
What does the rest of the comp do, Deficio? If you know you're looking at Hjärnan for sort of late game carry, I kind of understand Vitality and how they're going to work together as a 5-man. What does G2 want to do?
I mean, I think so much of it is now around the Zoe specifically. Like, you're actually not necessarily looking for an instant fight if you're G2 because you want to try and land a bubble into a potential one-shot from PerkZ. But if it is an all-in engage, that's where if you're jumping forward as G2, you need to remember you don't have any peel then for your backline. And the backline will get attacked by Poppy, Jarvan, and Galio every single time. So G2 really need to find out how they actually want to engage. And I think a lot of it comes down to PerkZ landing that crucial hit first.
Got it.
Then you know you can one-shot a target. If you land a bubble first and follow up by with a Rakan engage, someone dies,
yeah.
like 100%. But you got to be patient because that's the thing about Zoe. Insane poke, but it's so focused around landing that poke on just that one, one single target, and you just need to wait for cooldowns all the time. She's not the big Orianna ulti kind of mage where you can just go for all-in engages all the time.
Yeah, definitely the case. And for G2, it's making sure it's on their terms, making sure they can utilize the strengths of that Zoe and maybe set up for a team fight for Hjärnan and Wadid. But the one thing I just want to mention is that G2 today are looking much more competitive than yesterday. Kikis has not completely ruled G2 out of the game. Yes, Vitality have a lead, and yes, Vitality have an advantage. But by 18 minutes yesterday, there was no hope for G2. And today, I feel like there are some opportunities for them to come back into this game. And of course, this is just the first game for G2. They still have to play Schalke after this, pending whatever this result is.
Yeah, there's hope. It's just going to be so hard for them to play the fights. You have to remember also the Xayah ulti does not get you out of things like a Jarvan ult. You actually just jump up in the air, and then you jump right back. So Vitality can wait for you to return to the ground and then kill you.
How do you jump back to the ground while you're flying?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I guess you fall down.
I would have preferred that personally,
I mean, in video games, you can probably jump in the air.
Yeah, there's not a double jump in ours, no? At least not on Xayah. At least not on Xayah.
I don't know.
There we go. Certainly T. Not yet. Give us a double.
Yeah, that's the next one.
All right. Kikis, going to use that passive. Hits Wunder with a buckler. And then heroic charge to the face. Interesting investment on the Verdict.
And by interesting, you mean not necessary.
Yeah, but I'll let you say that one. I'm not going to make such a bold claim. Don't really know what Kikis was hoping to do. In the end, it just means it's unavailable for a potential team fight. Vitality grouping up for this bottom in a turret, and G2, they're late to the party, but they want to defend it. Take a look at Wunder. He's going, not down yet, manages to survive. How on earth is he alive? Wunder is still ticking, is still roaring. Wunder walks away, and it's Jiizuké that dies. Now Jankos looking for the flash body slam. G2 are chasing down Vitality. And Wunder is watching, smiling, laughing. Wadid unable to find the knockup, but here comes Cabo. Cataclysm available to him. Big chunk of damage onto Wadid, but the Sleepy Trouble bubble slows down Jactroll's advance. Attila's now running away, and PerkZ manages to take him out. G2 kills against Vitality.
Vitality, they thought they had it down bot lane, instantly getting killed into Wunder, but it didn't actually happen, and suddenly they found 5 G2 members showing up and just surprising them. Let's see. The setup is 3 players. Right now, Cabochard is top lane, and Kikis is coming down, not joining the initial tower dive. He just, the Q just missed by an inch against him, and now 5 G2 members. Cabochard is just TPing in at this very moment. He was expecting them to one-shot the Cho'Gath. He didn't need to join instantly. But the moment Wunder stays alive by a second, and you're still stuck under that turret.
And imagine if Kikis had his ultimate for that retreat. Yeah, would have saved Jactroll's life at least. Regardless, Wunder stays alive, and G2 get 2 extremely important kills, and it buys them more time to scale into this later game.
Oh, and they saw the kill. They were under the turret already. They were hard committing. And while Kikis, I think he managed to interrupt at least some of the mobility from Wadid, it wasn't the actual engage, so Wadid still got onto the back line of Vitality under that turret and killed every single one. Let's see what happens now for G2 Esports. They're still slightly down in gold, but not enough for it to really matter. Jiizuké is in the side lane. It's not the rise from yesterday, from last game, sorry, not yesterday. It feels like it was ages ago.
There's so much happening,
From
it
last
does feel like
game, you don't have to respect the split push this time as much.
No.
You have to respect the all-in, however, still of the Jarvan plus Galio.
Yeah, especially when you see the build. Roa almost fully stacked. Luden's Echo is a second item for Jiizuké, so those Winds of War are going to be doing a lot of damage, in fact, especially when comboed with Electrocute and some of the other engage power, you know, throw on the Cataclysm, True Shot Barrage, etc. For G2 Esports, though, touching distance, 1,000 gold down at 20 minutes. 2 items starting to be picked up, Stormrazor and Rapid Fire Cannon for Hjärnan. A little bit of components for sort of Wunder and PerkZ. Starting to add up to more power. And who's going to have the advantage when we start playing around Baron? I really like Vitality's opportunity to fight around Baron, but
That's kind of the way for them to win. They're fighting bot lane.
they are indeed. Wunder's going to get locked in with the Cataclysm this time round. Cabochard decides to pull the trigger. There's no flash for Wunder, but look how long he's surviving. Maybe long enough for a teleport to be channeled, but cancelled. That was Hjärnan that decided to remove that one. The rest of G2 were going to arrive simply too late. Vitality get an easy pick off.
And this time, they kill the Cho'Gath in time. Even checking or killing the wave on top side.
It does make me nervous how long it takes. You know, even in, what was it, 2-on-1, 3-on-1 scenario, Vitality took such a long time to get through that Wunder HP bar.
Well, as long as you're not getting something else on the map, you have time. That's a bot lane turret falling as well. I think one of the things Wunder would love to have is a stopwatch for himself at the moment, just for these kind of setups, if he's going to continue sitting in a side lane, because we see how slowly they kill him. It's a little bit awkward for him to actually build it, because he obviously wants to start getting towards more tank items on his side. Vitality's still in control. We'll have to execute around the Baron and not just rely on winning through split push this time, and that is a difference from the last game.
Well, we know they played the split push game very well. Now we get to evaluate their Baron baits and team fights and peels. Talk to me about Cabo's build. What do you think? He's definitely gone pretty all-in, Titanic, Black Cleaver.
That's very standard so far.
Do you want him to go tank now?
I mean, he will eventually start building towards it. We obviously also know that things like a GA can work in these kind of builds where you are a bruiser, but you're building a lot of damage item first. But he's not that squishy at the moment, and he's only really dealing with Hjärnan. He's not scared of PerkZ at the moment. Baron being started.
Of course, that control ward cancelling out the vision. The vision ward for G2. G2 are sort of aware of it. They're making their way down. Glacial Fish has been used. Baron's down to 2,500, and Jankos is sent flying and packing. Now, of course, the Baron will be the focus. Is secured. Kikis smites it down, but at what cost? Now Kikis trying to interrupt. Jiizuké gives his life for the team. Continues to bait and slow down G2, but 3 members of the team have Baron on them.
Quick call here from Vitality. We've often criticized them for the Baron play, but this one was actually very, very good. They knew G2 would be far away once it started, and they had things like Braum ult and Poppy ult to try and stop G2 from getting in range. Jankos had no chance of stealing this one. Vitality stay in control despite losing 2 players, because now with this Baron buff here, they should be able to get the last out of turrets.
And of course, thinking back to Yamato's interview, inspired by Chachi, it was a very similar play, saving the Baron invading. Here's a replay of the setup.
And Kikis also is an old top laner.
There we go.
It's not weird for him to play here, so it's just with all the tools they have to actually stop Jankos from getting in. I think Jankos tried to ult to potentially interrupt the Poppy ult from Kikis, and then he could get in range, but there was a massive Braum shield in the way.
Yep.
Instantly got denied. And yeah, sure, you might lose a couple of guys on the outside, but huge improvements from Vitality, actually getting down this Baron so quickly.
And the question is, will they win that battle for the buy? I'm going to ask you guys to vote. Jump into chat and vote for me. Yes or no? Will Vitality win the battle for the buy? They can do it by knocking out G2 right now, or winning in the 2 extra tiebreaker games once we determine that seed. Yes or no? Jump into chat and we'll reveal your results in a moment or two. For now, back to the game, and Deficio, Vitality, they're sieging with Baron.
Vitality right now are trying so hard to get down the last out of turrets and potentially a fight before Hjärnan gets eye edge, and just as I said it, he just completed it, which means now he is actually a legit late game threat. Because one of the things that happens with things like Jarvan, Galio, Poppy is like, your damage at this point in the game is very high, and you can obviously completely destroy an ADC if you get to him, but the further we get into the game, the more time G2 has to also get some defensive items to protect Hjärnan. It gets harder for these guys, the big bruisers, to actually kill the backline, and it's kind of what G2 are hoping for. I'm not sure they get there in time because Vitality have ways to start team fights and can just keep forcing, but the IH completion is big.
Well, Vitality with a 2,000 gold lead with Baron and a couple of members and 53% of the fans at home expecting them to win the Battle of the Bye. They are the ones in control for now. And they are the ones that have the option or the ability to close this out. Let's see if they can execute on it.
Yeah, and I talked about potential defensive items from G2. Well, they're actually not going for it just yet. And the ones I mean is like the supportive defensive ones. Because they're going for Shirelius here. Wadid actually has more ways to try and engage and start the fight. So he's trying to reach that backline of Vitality, but that's not really where the fight is won. It's actually by you stopping Galio and Jarvan and Puppey from destroying PerkZ and Hjärnan.
Jankos has committed his ultimate, but look at Jiizuké, look at the Cataclysm! Vitality want to win the battle right now! They've got themselves 2 kills. Yes, they've lost Jactroll, but it doesn't matter. They've broken open the base, and maybe they've broken the backs of G2. It's a 5,000 gold lead. Vitalities have super minions in multiple lanes, and they've used this Baron buff fantastically. Jiizuké's trying to get away, trying to bait G2, and he's going to escape for now. But there was no hesitation on that dive.
Exactly. One of the questions yesterday in the post-game lobby was, okay, how can Vitality make sure they just continue winning? What kind of drafts are they always looking for? And it was highlighted very clearly, easy ways to force team fights, because that's how they've still won most of their games in the summer split, when they can group and pull the trigger. Jarvan, Galio, Puppey gives them so many ways of always getting to Hjärnan. It's taunt from Jiizuké into all-in from the Puppey and the Jarvan, and there's just no way out. And that's the thing about Vitality. When they're ahead, they never stop forcing. They're not the kind of team to just dance around and be like, nah, we're a little bit insecure, we're not sure. No, like, oh, that guy, slide out of position, bam, 3 people are in there. And they do it together. So that's why whenever they run with proper engage in their comms, when they get in and group, they do this.
And that means Vitality are 1 Nexus away from a trip to Madrid. They close this game out, they guarantee that second seed. Schalke are sitting backstage as the biggest G2 eSport fans right now, because if G2 do not bounce back, then G2 and Schalke will be playing for that 3rd, 4th decider in the very next game.
Biggest G2 fans, biggest H2K haters.
Absolutely.
As well, because this actually should have been Schalke already in the 2nd place spot with how the results played out yesterday. If they just beat H2K, the bottom team in the EU LCS. But when they lost that, they were forced into this tiebreaker. And Vitality, as the winners of yesterday's games, they are very happy right now. They just continue doing it. Currently looking great against G2 Esports. Already took down Schalke today. Let's see if they can actually finish this. One more big team fight, or we get that all-in engage, and the game should be over. No flash from Jiizuké there, so he can't go for the same play.
All right, it's 29 minutes of game time. Vitality do not have Baron. It will be respawning in 1 minute and 45 seconds, and you can see the gold lead. While it is not as definitive as yesterday's game, it still shares a similar shape, with Vitality accelerating ahead. Vitality is going to get some time on this mid in a turret, and G2 have decided to defend their inhibitor turrets.
And I'm just trying to think, like, how can G2 actually force a fight if PerkZ does not land great combos like
that?
See now?
The Gragas barrel, but Vitality are backing away. Jiizuké hasn't used the ultimate just yet, and there's so many low HP bars on Vitality. Jactroll and Kikis are trying to back away. Jiizuké's locked down and locked out. That's a kill. It's Hjärnan IH that manages to make the difference. There is a reply from Attila, though. Here comes PerkZ. Jactroll should be burning down. He survives a few seconds longer and stays alive. Manages to escape with his life, and G2 Esports, they get 1 at the cost of 1.
So even with the setup, oh, that one just missed here, but even with the setup under the turret, where Vitality did not get the great combo off, G2 ends up going 1 for 1 in the fight. Because again, they can reach the backline of Vitality, but that's an Ezreal. They can't always deny the engage. This time around, because it's on the turret and PerkZ actually managed to step back, engage is not there. Galio ult is not used by Jiizuké in the fight itself, and this was basically the perfect G2 setup and almost the worst Vitality one, and it's 1 for 1.
If I saw that correctly, I think PerkZ was hit by the verdict.
In his ult.
In his ult.
Yes.
So even though he was
back.
meant to fly much further, he came back to his original starting point. And of course, how pivotal that could have been, because he managed to chase, managed to help get a little bit more damage on the way out. So Vitality, that's just put the brakes on ever so slightly.
Yeah, but it was still 1 for 1, right?
Yeah.
The only thing they kind of missed out on was getting mid in him. They're going to have flash on Jiizuké very soon. They're going to be ready to go for another taunt flash fight. Hjärnan flash is available. He has QSS to try and get out of it. But as I highlighted earlier, they're not building a lot of defensive items for him. There's no Locket, Knight's Vow, these kind of things. It's actually just him on his own, because Wadid, he's trying to get onto Vitality and fight them with this build.
All right, let's see whether they can do it for Vitality. The game is in their control. GA was picked up by Cabochard, Deathcap was picked up by Jiizuké.
And still want to highlight one moment where PerkZ lands the bubble into a queue. G2 might get Baron. Like, that opening is still there with this Zoe on 3 items. But if it doesn't happen, let's see, bot side.
All right, Wunder's got over 4,000 HP. It'll take a little while to take him down, but take a look at this. Cataclysm is thrown down. Stone Plate has been used. Wunder continues to take a hammering, and PerkZ makes his way out. Flag and drag comes up, no flash for Wunder, he's already used the feast. Now PerkZ looking for the paddle star and the sleepy trouble bubble. That's a flash into the bush. Oh, the paddle star falls ever so short. Now Baron has been started by Vitality. Paddle star comes out. Cabo's now trying to buy time. He will be the sacrifice for Vitality. GA keeps him alive and slows down G2. We need to keep our eyes on the minimap because G2 are looking to challenge the Baron. Cabo goes golden. He's used that stopwatch. Still alive for a few seconds longer. Baron's at 50%.
Yeah, Jiizuké can TP now. He just called, so he's joining full HP at the Baron.
And he's got his ultimate available. Hjärnan and Wadid is going to help out. And the Baron buff is secured. Vitality pick it up. And G2 Esports have super minis on the Nexus.
Yeah, G2, they know. The moment you invest 3 players on bot side to deal with Jarvan and the Galio, you lose Baron. Vitality couldn't really do anything wrong right there as long as they just walked in and started the big objective. In the end, they do secure it, and it looked a little bit funny. Kikis, he was ready with the hammer, and then Baron's like, whoop, nope.
Interrupted
Didn't
that
matter.
One. Vitality's decisiveness this game over the last 10 minutes has been impressive. They've tower dove effectively. Yes, they got caught out in the mid lane, but as soon as that fight started bottom, instantly on the Baron.
And you know what, Trevor? I know Fnatic got first place, but based on the last couple of weeks, Vitality are actually looking like the best team. Their current form and how they're able to play out these games now against G2, Schalke, some of the other top teams, what they did yesterday against G2 as well, what they actually did against Fnatic when they played a couple of weeks ago. The moment these guys get a draft where Kikis can be active in the early game, also the case with the Poppy, because you can gank so
Apparently the champion doesn't matter is what I'm starting to learn.
Well, as long as you can gank or invade, there you go. You have something you can do. The team can get early leads and then start playing the map right after. There's been some good Baron plays in this one. Let's see if they can get an engage. He's looking.
Sleepy Trouble doesn't find a target. Kikis was on the front line. He's got that steadfast presence to interrupt any of those dashes or tools that G2 want to throw down. Now remember, when Flash was available for Jiizuké, he went under the tower with Grand Entrance and that taunt. He's not with the team right now, and Flash is on cooldown, so it's going to be a little more difficult to pull off that big tower dive. Deficio, Vitality have got an 8k gold lead. They're sieging multiple lanes.
Let's see. Can they get onto Attila and maybe take him down in time? I don't think so. He actually has Hexdringer.
All right, this time round interrupted by the quick. There's a lot of damage coming down, and the Grand Entrance will land. Gets a knockup, but Hjärnan's already got himself 2 kills. Jiizuké's looking for one dead. That's Xayah. That's Hjärnan dead as well. Now Jiizuké's managed to get inside the base, and Attila is simply untouched. He's simply unkilled, and he's looking for PerkZ. PerkZ goes golden and will stay alive a few seconds longer before Attila will take him out. Wunder is the last man standing, and Vitality, it is just a matter of time. They are inside the base, and they are already celebrating. The team that placed 4th in spring have made a substitution in summer. They have had a phenomenal end to the summer split, and Vitality have won the battle for the bye and booked their tickets to Madrid.
Great game. And some awesome, awesome team fights from Vitality. We kept talking about the bruisers in the front and what they would do.
Yes.
Attila was just sitting in the back every single fight, dealing a ton of damage.
I want you to go on record again, Deficio. Is this the best performing team in Europe?
Current form, yes.
1, 2, 3.
Wow, that's a statement. It's difficult to argue against. Every time a question has been asked in the last weeks with Kikis, it has been answered with a resounding, I'm gonna win everything.
Straight into the semifinal, you get another week to prepare, you get to watch the quarterfinals, and you know if you're Vitality, you're looking at that final against Fnatic. That's the one you're looking at. Fnatic has said multiple times, they're a bit scared.
Yes.
Because Vitality, they do some unpredictable things in the early game, and now we're actually seeing much better late games from them as well.
And apparently, even when you mess up in the draft with Poppy jungle, apparently it'll work. Now, I will call that statement into question, seeing how good Kikis was on that champion, with the exception of a couple of ultimates. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what was happening. And ladies and gentlemen, Vitality win the battle for the bye. They are your second best team during the regular season, and they have booked their tickets to Madrid. Now, the next game will determine who faces whom in the quarterfinal, Schalke and G2. Losing means that you are the potential lowest seed.
Also means we only have one game remaining. There will be no chance of more. But yeah, if you get the lowest seed here, you will of course be dealing suddenly with Misfits in your quarterfinal. And while that might not look too scary now, there's a high chance you end up playing against Fnatic as the number 1 seed.
And of course, the way that it works, assuming the number 3 seed, whether that's Schalke or G2, beats Splice, that means whoever wins the 4th, 5th battle will be the lowest seed that advances to semifinals, and they will face Fnatic. If somehow Splice finds some form and are able to take down Schalke and G2, then they will be facing Fnatic as the lowest seed.
That's always the key thing now. We have a week until the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Teams have more time, and it's going to be best of 5. So there's a lot of adaptation. And I think if you are a Fnatic fan and you see this Vitality team, sure, you know, you might actually be a little bit scared.
Yes.
But your team also has 2 weeks now, and we know Fnatic, when they play at their best, look absolutely insane as well.
Yesterday, when Vitality faced G2, you predicted Vitality to win. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I
Today,
did.
you told me that they are pretty likely to go 2-0. And they did.
And they
Superior
did.
Analyst. And 55% of you guys at home jumped into chat and said that Vitality will win the battle for the bye. Congratulations, you called it, along with Superior Analyst. So with that win, that's it. Vitality, they've locked in that trip to Madrid, either in 3rd place or finals. They will be attending another stadium match. That'll take place on the 8th and 9th of September. You guys can get tickets to come see us and Vitality and Fnatic there, eu.lollysports.com/Madrid. We also have some viewing parties around the world. Deficio, can you read the URL for me?
No, go ahead, please.
All right, www.leagueoflegendsincinemas.com. Deficio can't read, apparently. For more on Vitality's win, let's head over to the analyst desk.
That's a truly tragic quick shot. I hope that Deficio learns how to read, but while he's working on that one, we can talk about the insanity that was G2 versus Vitality. Now, before you guys say anything, let's take a look at that final fight one more time, because we thought this might be the turning point, and didn't really work out that way.
I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is it. G2 going to win another late game fight. Just look at the engage that you get from Wadid. It was extremely clean. It interrupted the ulti from Kikis, and you're thinking, this looks great. 2 kills. And then Jiizuké, he just obliterates 2 members. You then have Cabochard coming off the back end as well. Oh, man, it was beautiful to see from Vitality. The big carries coming up huge and solidifying the win for Vitality.
Yeah. However,
there's a however in that.
However, in this play, Hjärnan had both QSS and flash up, and you don't have to think of Galio as a tank. That's like the mistake. This guy
ran electrocute.
Rabadon electrocute. You know, that's like a Syndra is teleporting into the fight and just appears in front of you. It's not like, I'm just going to tank it up, you know? Like, he should have QSS and just go out of there. And yes, they were winning the fight G2 until they lost it. But props, you know, to Vitality. They play those, like, pressure team comps where if you don't make one single move that's wrong, you're just gonna die. And Hjärnan made the move, so yeah.
And I was surprised. I looked at this composition, and I to you guys, we're also kind of commenting on this too. I was like, where does the damage come from? I see.
Yeah, I was
Ezreal.
like, is there any good damage on this composition?
Cho'Gath just never gonna die in the late game? And we saw it was a struggle to kill a Cho'Gath. It took a long time, admittedly, but everybody else died super quick. So props to Vitality for executing it. But how do you feel about this comp in general?
We were saying during the draft, either team could win this game. Because we didn't agree with the drafts really much at all. When I saw like this Poppy with a Galio, I was like, where's their engage coming from? You need follow-up. You need a way to start it so the Galio can follow up. He's not really the engage tool. But then I was thinking about it, okay, now they have to go Jarvan, now they have no damage, but then they just went full AP Galio, then they had a carry top laner in the Jarvan, and it does seem like they were able to make up for what looked like a damage lackluster comp.
It did. It worked out for them very well. Now, I've heard we have some very excited Vitality members sitting down with Medic right now to talk about everything that just went down and their bye.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Kikis, Attila, and Mini Trupax? No, not Mini Trupax, Jiizuké. Every time I look at Attila, I think of Mini Trupax. And the last time we were sitting on this couch, I was actually congratulating you guys on, I think it was beating Schalke in Challenger Series last split. So that's what I'm going to blame that misstep on. I apologize, guys. Congratulations so much on getting second spot. Coming into today, did you guys feel that this was a reality?
Yeah, I think we just used the momentum we had before. We won, we had a 2-0 week, and we felt really strong. We only lost one game since I came, and everyone just is really confident in each other, and we have full trust. And yeah, like we're all really strong players, and we just play out of each other's strengths.
It sounds a little bit braggy from you, Kikis, to be like, oh, we've only lost one game since I came. I'm the reason we're winning. But the team has had a huge transformation since you've come. What is it that you brought to the team that's changed things around?
I think I'm just really consistent, and also I'm an aggressive jungler that I don't really see that playstyle in anyone else, in EU at least. I guess maybe like from other regions, even though I don't watch it closely, Spirit has the same kind of playstyle and idea about the game. So yeah, I think me like doing the early game plan for like first 5, 10, 15 minutes, like depending on the game, just makes our games really stable. And I'm capitalizing on every enemy mistake in the early game that they do.
It seems that the early game has really stepped up for Vitality. It helps when you have such good players on your team, people like Attila, people like Jiizuké as well. Attila, I want to direct my next question to you. Recently, we've seen you beat Hans Sommer on his own signature pick. We've seen you beat Hjärnan as well. And upset even today, you just demolished him. Do you think now that you're the best AD carry in Europe?
I mean...
Come on.
You can say it, man. You can be proud.
No, I mean, I always said I will beat anyone. Doesn't matter the name, right? But every game is a game. I think, like, for example, Upset has stepped up really huge this game and this split. And I really enjoy playing against him. And Reckless, I haven't faced him yet. But yeah, I'm definitely, like, on the top. And I just want to show it on playoffs now.
Is that purely you, or do you think that Jactroll has a big influence in that lane as well?
Yeah, I mean, Jactroll, ever since Korea bootcamp, like, we face so many Chinese teams. Like, Chinese teams are crazy. They're only diving you, you know? So we learned their way as well, and we can play really aggressive now. And I think Jactroll stepping up really helped me as well to be more aggressive and be more myself on the laning phase. And after it's just, I've always been good in mid game, I think so.
Yeah, both of you definitely stepping up as a bot lane at the moment. Jiizuké, you're one of the most emotional players I've ever seen in the European LCS. We see you hooping and hollowing and screaming. In the middle of the split, you kind of had a downtrend in your form. What is it that's now brought you up to sort of this high level again?
Like, I think people just compare myself to Spring Split Jiizuké. And just Spring Split Jiizuké, I wanted to show what I had, my mechanics, and I just wanted to show up every single game. Well, now I just want to win. So I just do everything the team needs to win. And for example, the last 2 games, the team needed to win, and there weren't a lot of options. I did a few outplays, and we won the game out of that. So if Spring Split Jiizuké is needed, I just pop off. If it's not, I will not take unnecessary risks. I think Brox and Xerxes last split in playoffs and the third place match, they teach me a lot. They punished my playstyle really hard. And from there, I just evolved as a player. And I think that even right now, I'm pretty underrated. Like, I think people don't realize what I do in the team. Like, I have mid prio every single time, or I can decide to solo kill, or I can do whatever. So people saying that I underperform, I really don't understand it.
I think you are definitely performing pretty well. And I want to come back to that because you talked about last year's playoffs, and both you and Attila were in that 3rd, 4th place match in Copenhagen. How did it feel for you guys to get so close to, you know, the top 2 and then falter in the final hurdles?
Well, I thought in Spring Split we will be rank 1, to be fair, and I thought we would have the highest seed. So going from rank 1 to, oh, maybe we were rank 2, to maybe we were rank 4, it was really hard. So you said I'm an emotional person. Like, I shed some tears there because I was like, what actually happened? Like, we had the control of everything, and then, but I guess like misfits as well, 9-0 into 1-7. I don't know what
2 and 7, I think.
Yeah, like I think just we lost that 1 game, and then it's snowballed, and we lost every game, and we just had to control it. Instead, we didn't. So Yeah.
So from that low, we've gone to the high now. You're second place. You're going to Madrid, definitely. Maybe getting into that final as well. We heard on the desk that Deficio said he thinks you guys might be the best team in Europe right now. We're going to run down the line. Jiizuké, are you better than Fnatic right now?
I'm not a good guy. You can ask Attila.
Attila, you better than Fnatic?
By far.
Kikis, are you better than Fnatic right now?
Fire by.
Bye-bye. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Let's hand it back to Drakos. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Jiizuké.
Thank you very much, Medic. By
Thank
far.
you, H2K.
Far by.
Far by.
Far
Yeah.
by. Thank you,
Far
H2K.
by.
Every combination of those two words.
Every upset that led to this moment, thank you. It was an exciting road for Vitality. Vitality can be
Still have
appreciative.
more fights left to go, though, do you?
But that's the truth. It's not the end of the day, folks. All is not done. Remember, just because the team has secured the second seed, there is still a fight going on for third seed. Now, that's important. It means you will be going against Splice. Loser will play Misfits. It's Schalke versus G2. One final round. Winner take all, or at least third seed in this case. Now, we saw both of these teams lose to Vitality. Very different games overall.
Yeah.
But what are we expecting now heading into this match? What do we expect to be the difference maker if either of these teams wants to come out on top?
It's a little bit difficult. I think that G2 here, even later on in the game, had still chances to win, but they were just outbodied or out-muscled by Vitality. They just went in and there was really not an answer. And I think in a slower game, maybe G2 and Schalke, both of them actually like those kind of slower games more. I think just stylistically, Vitality was like rock, paper, scissors, and, you know...
They were rock.
They're always
the everyone else in the league is scissors.
They're always
and they're like, oh, you drafted scissors? Unlucky. And I think that's kind of the story of today so far for Vitality. They're looking great so far. And moving into this next matchup, as you rightly said, it's scissors v scissors. They're going to be keep drawing against each other. The ultimate question is who drafts paper. And when we think about some of the key players that have been stepping up, Upset down the bottom lane is still an individual that we're looking at. We do feel like that he played well in the first game of the day, but they weren't able to have a huge impact because they did fall behind in the early stages and they kind of got split apart in the 1-3-1. And PerkZ, he's definitely another person that we're keeping our eyes on coming into this game. He had a great performance on the Zoe, but because of the early deficits that they found themselves in, they really weren't able to utilize the strength that he found.
And I really think that both teams right now need to look for redemption, because both of the losses against Vitality, I think people were underperforming, and I really want to see more from Upset and Hjärnan, because I think Hjärnan had the ability to carry the team fights and did not. I think Upset was the same on Ezreal, was so far ahead in gold, I think like 2,000 gold or something, like didn't capitalize on this. Chachi was somebody who we are also looking to, you know, having star performance, doing the best play ever with the Poppy, and generally being so strong. So, and PerkZ as well, it was somebody that we expected a lot from. I think especially those 4 people have a lot to redeem themselves for, and I think that will be very, very important going forward as well, to have the self-confidence to say, you know, we won this game, I performed well going into playoffs, I'm ready.
All right, well, it might not count for Superior Analyst, or at least the race going into playoffs, but I want some predictions anyway. We just heard from Sheepy. We'll get in a lock-in for you in a moment. But Vedius, who do you think is actually going to take it? Which of these underperformers do you think is going to step up, G2 or Schalke?
I feel like G2 is going to perform largely because right now the pressure is on for third place. I think that because Vitality performed above and beyond, right now the pressure is going to get to Schalke. Considering they were in contention for that first place spot, they were sitting tied so close to Fnatic for so long. Now they realize that they're going to drop to 4th, and a part of me just feels that that pressure is getting to them, and a large part of why G2 will come out on top is because of PerkZ in the mid lane. I think Jankos is performing better. Stylistically, this is better for G2, and I think that they'll find the win.
All right, Sheep, do you agree, G2, or is it going to be Schalke?
I feel like the same for Schalke as well. Like, I think that stylistically, you know, Schalke has like a lot of positives that they will bring out into the match of G2. And I think that especially for the bot lane, I think Schalke is just, as a team, more cohesive when it goes into the slower games. They really are good at setting up those kind of team fights, especially because it's their forte. I think that's the only thing that they're really strong at, is those kind of team fight setups where amazing plays like a Sejuani or whatnot just throws in the ultimate and sets up the entire team to carry, Chachi coming in from a flank. And I think that will happen as well in the game if they are going to win. And if anything else, you know, G2, maybe they get a little bit of bite, you know, from losing the games. They really want to show up. I think they have this kind of personalities where they're like, you know, we lost the game, I really want to win now. And yeah, it will be definitely super interesting game going forward. I think both teams have a lot to show.
All right, well, I'm not going to talk about the predictions graphic. We'll just leave that for what it is. I also predicted Schalke. I believe in the Schalke late game in a slower game.
I like the Unicorns of Love there.
There you go, baby.
That would be the upset of the century if they start winning this game.
That would not be allowed. People would be very upset with that, I think. That would be some WWE level of twist. We're not that, I promise. There's no crazy WWE twist. When we return, it is time to determine who's going to get third seed in the quarterfinals. Schalke are facing off against G2 in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys after the break.
Get jumped on by the heroic entrance.
He
Starts to get channeled down. Cataclysm by Jankos is decent. Sorry, the barrel, rather. And there's the chase up. That's the first kill. Wunder's already down. Here comes PerkZ, though, looking for a reply. Oh, very nice escape for Kikis, but now uses the heroic charge. Now, no, manages to sidestep the knockup. It's 2 quick kills for G2. That was all set up by Jankos. He killed the minion wave. Take a look at Wunder. He's going, not down yet. Manages to survive. How on earth is he alive? Wunder is still ticking, is still roaring. Wunder walks away.
Galio and Jarvan and Puppey from destroying PerkZ and Hjärnan.
Jankos has committed his ultimate, but look at Jiizuké, look at the Cataclysm! Vitality want to win the battle right now! Alright, keep converting this time round, interrupted by the quick. There's a lot of damage coming down, and the grand entrance will land, gets a knockup, but Hjärnan's already got himself 2 kills. Jiizuké's looking for Wadid. That's Xayah, that's Hjärnan dead as well. They have had a phenomenal end to the summer split, and Vitality have won the battle for the bye and booked their tickets to Madrid.